Guys, today's first topic is one that kind of hits down to the heart. I feel like people don't really think about this enough. I feel like people don't really think about this at all. And it's something that we need to fucking address. And that topic today, ladies and gentlemen, is movies, games, and TV shows that deserved or that got a lot of hype, rather. A lot of TV shows that definitely were the fucking hype for months, even for years. And then upon delivery, were an absolutely fucking disappointment, man. I feel like nowadays, this shit is happening way too consistently, bro. Like, I can give you an example or two in a minute, but we're just gonna kind of dive into the theory. We're gonna kind of dive into the whole situation that we have at hand. Because I feel like it is absolutely fucking unfair that the general public and everyone else continues to suffer as a result of what I like to call just like a downward shift in quality, man. I feel like, I don't know, like maybe you guys, I've put a lot of thought into this actually, and I feel like just the commercialization of being able to upload movies on an online format like Netflix or maybe like Amazon Prime or Vudu or whatever the fuck, man. Like, it has actually pushed people to essentially have access to a lot more content than they used to. And I honestly think that the people deserve better. Like if you dive deep into the barrel of what is Netflix, man, you'll find some really fucking shitty stuff. I feel like Netflix probably has a lot more shitty shows than they do good shows. And I don't think that should be the norm. I feel like a lot of like directors, producers, stuff like that should be doing a much better job to produce a lot better quality content. How often do you observe a good show coming on Netflix and actually rocking the fucking boat? I don't think that I have observed anything outside of like Strange Things. I know that once Squid Game season 2 drops, it's gonna fucking rock the boat for Netflix again. But dude, how far in between are those shows coming in? Movies also as well, dude. Like, do you guys remember just the fucking hype around some of these like latest movies? Like, for example, one of them that completely disappointed me was Halloween Kills. That was I think it was released sometime last year. But how much fucking hype was there on Halloween Kills? How much hype was there that was going to be like the very amazing sequel that was going to follow up on Halloween? Any book turned into a movie. Do you have any specific examples that you would like to bring up, Rosebud? Because I feel like that there's a lot of examples actually that you could probably dive into. But absolutely, I feel like a good example from my end actually on that, aside from Lord of the Rings franchise, you know, I've actually heard like a lot of feedback on like the series that was released on Amazon Prime that actually has been like a lot of people have been fairly disappointed in the latest Lord of the Rings series. I think like the general disappointment has been that like it feels kind of like a fan fiction rather than like an addition to the franchise. And I honestly haven't seen enough of Lord of the Rings to be able to provide a really solid opinion into it. But that's been the general feedback. So I would love to hear some of your feedback, Rosebud, and see what you got to say about. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it or not just yet, but if you have seen it, let me get that feedback on what you think about the Lord of the Series franchise. But Halloween Kills, for example, last year, how hype was that movie? That movie was like freaking, it was supposed to be well received. That was supposed to be like the fucking sequel that was going to deliver the fucking vibes on the Halloween series, man. And I feel like the Halloween remake that they did, I think was like 2018 maybe, that they did like the first remake before Halloween Kills. That movie was actually not bad. I mean, I watched it with my girlfriend at the time, not my fiance, but we watched it and we actually had a good time with the movie. I haven't seen Rings of Power yet. Gotcha. Okay, so you don't have an opinion on it because you haven't had an opportunity to see it. But Halloween Kills, such a fucking booty movie, man. Like, for the amount of hype that it got, it legitimately was getting hyped up like in a bunch of fucking commercials, dude. They had interviews, they had everything going for it, and Halloween Kills was an absolute flop. And now, when you think about it, right? I mean, people are spending legitimate money to go into theaters and to be able to watch these fucking disappointments of movies. I think that the COVID era kind of brought up a good method of being able to watch content at home without necessarily having to go out to the theater. Now, does this actually hurt theaters all around the country? Of course. But I feel like there's got to be a filter. There's got to be like some sort of industry standard where if the movie is just not going to be a good movie, you shouldn't be allowed to put it in a movie theater. I think that if you're going to be putting a lot of resources and production level into a film, you have to rock the fucking boat with it. You just have to. You know, I don't think that I don't think that the people deserve shitty delivery and absolutely just shitty vibes with some of this content. Now, this is not completely isolated to movies. Of course, like TV shows, you have a lot of just content out there that is just an absolute fucking flop, man. Like, it's crazy, you know. Like, for example, I don't know if you guys have seen like the Young Sheldon franchise. I mean, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, it's actually not bad. But like, I don't really know what the concept was of like producing like a Young Sheldon. Was Sheldon actually that famous of like a character? Because I refuse to watch I refuse to watch that show, man. What's it called? Big Bang Theory. I refuse to watch Big Bang Theory. I think that laugh track kind of mechanic that they introduce and that they continue to run is absolutely absurd. I'm telling you. Like, I don't think that I would be fairly okay, because I think that the whole concept of adding a laugh track to a show is very outdated. Now, some of you might hate me because of the fact that I'm bringing up Big Bang Theory as one of those shows that I don't know, bro. I feel like it's overhyped as fuck, but like, you know, that's just me. But let's see. I mean, like the Gabriel Iglesias show, for example, like the comedy show that came up on his Netflix special, that shit was a fucking flop. You know, I mean, Gabriel Iglesias is a good comedian and everything, but like that series, dude, like it actually was getting hyped up by him quite a bit. You know, it was getting brought up into the limelight. Kinda Kai should never have been made in. You mean Cobra Kai? Cobra Kai should never have been made, in my opinion. So do you feel that like, I think Cobra Kai is supposed to be like a remake on like the original series, right? I think is what it is. I think Cobra Kai is one of those shows that is very polar in the event that either you love it or you hate it. You know, like I've never had the opportunity to sit down because on watching shows on YouTube is kind of like, you know, interesting. I think it did eventually become a Netflix series, but what about Cobra Kai? Do you think it's just like something that does not deserve like its own movie or TV series, in your opinion? I think one, like for example, I just finished watching Cabinet of Curiosities recently. And Cabinet of Curiosities, for the most part, has some amazing stories that they actually produce into very solid episodes. And to be honest, like the last two, I'm not gonna go into spoilers because I feel like if you guys actually want to watch it and check it out, I think it's definitely worth a watch, like all the way through the entire season. Cabinet of Curiosities is probably one of like the better short story projects that I've seen. But the last two stories are a fucking flap. Lag. Am I lagging really hard, by the way? Or if I'm lagging, let me know. Because it looks like my bitrate is actually... it looks like I dropped some frames, but I don't think that I have dropped anything too heavy. Hey, hope you've been having a great night so far. I like the hat. Hey, yo, Polar, welcome in, buddy. Thank you so much. We're discussing games, movies, and TV shows that were super hyped, and then upon arrival, were just a fucking disappointment, man. I honestly, like I said, the last two episodes of Cabinet of Curiosities are a fucking flop. The 7th episode, once you guys see the 7th episode, and I will have to get some opinions, but the 7th episode of the series is legitimately like I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know what the idea was. I don't know if they fucked up the delivery. I'm assuming that the short story has gotta be somewhat decent for them to even consider making it into an episode, but like, holy fuck, the seventh episode is like, it's hard to stomach how bad it was. The 8th episode, I would argue on my end that the 8th episode was also bad, but it wasn't as bad. But you know, like, what are some of the bigger ones that have been hyped as of late? Because I'm trying to come up with like specific movies. Like Halloween Kills was one of them that was like hyped to shit, and like it legitimately flopped. Rosebot, thank you so much for the resub. Really appreciate you, girl. Your internet cut out. Hopefully you get that internet back, because we were having a great conversation. Thank you so much for the resub. Really appreciate you. But I'm telling you right now, bro, like Halloween Kills was a shitty one. Let's see. What else was like a shitty movie? Have any of you seen Bros? The movie Bros. Have any of you actually gone out and seen Bros? Because holy fuckaroni, that movie... Bro, I saw the trailer of that movie and I knew that shit was gonna be like a fucking flop and a half, dude. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it wasn't like a flop, depending on who's seen it. But bro, Bros looked like such a fucking flop of a movie, but it was getting overhyped as shit. Like, it had a lot of commercials going for it and stuff. And I think it's also important to note that there is a difference when you go into Rotten Tomatoes. There is a difference between the scores that you get from the critics and that you get from the audience. Nikki's, thank you so much for the 100 biddies, girl. Really appreciate you, and welcome in. How was your day, by the way? Because I know you've been fairly busy, and I hope that your day has been getting a lot simpler through time. Muffin, hey yo, Nikki, how you doing tonight, girl? Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, we are one thing away from a hype train, dude. We're getting, god damn. God, that was a massive scream right there. Thank you so much, babe. Really appreciate you. That's how I scream when I get some fucking shitty TV shows or movies. If you guys have any examples in chat that you guys want to bring up, man, let me know. Hydrate, of course. We're about to hydrate. Thank you so much for the redeem, Rosebud. Really appreciate you. Now, in the gaming department, I feel like this topic applies very, very well to the game department. I'm great, love. How are you doing? Hey, yo, we're not doing too bad. We're discussing movies, TV shows, and games that were super hyped up and were shitty upon arrival. Let me give you guys an example on the game department now, and I'm gonna dive a little bit into what I feel like the game department is a little more guilty than anything on this, man. Before, in the 2000s, when you used to have the PlayStation 2 era, the Xbox era, even like the 360 and like the PlayStation 3, games used to be competitive. There was a lot of competition from developers, from publishers to produce the best games because shit was fucking hot back in the day. I'm telling you, like the fact that damn, bro, we're not about to open up nothing. Anyways. Yeah, yo, well, I'm wiggling about the fact that we finally get like a fucking game that is worth it, dude. But anyways, all right, bro. I'm trying to run a podcast here, Ocean, bro. What the fuck you doing, man? Hey, yo, any examples that you guys have of any shitty? Oh my god, any examples that you guys have of like shitty TV shows, movies, or games that they were just a fucking flop? Anyways, so with games, like back in the day, you had developers and publishers that were coming in and were like just completely competitive because of the fact that, hey, you had to deliver the fucking back. You know what I'm saying? You had to deliver shit down. You had to be very, 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 very fucking competitive to get people to buy your shit because it was rough back in the day. I feel like nowadays, man, with the access of the internet and the access of being able to deliver content post-release, it actually provides a bigger problem. The bigger problem being that you can be a little bit on the conservative side and then finish projects later on. Let me give you an example of this. Destiny 2. When Destiny 2 dropped back in the day, how many of you that picked up Destiny 2 at the beginning were delighted to know that you only had about 8 to 10 hours of campaign content, and then beyond that, you didn't have anything else to work with? How many of you were delighted to find out that Destiny 2 only had a certain amount of gameplay that you could go through before you were fucking done with the game and you had nothing else to do? Absolutely. A lot. I mean, a lot of you that purchased the game were probably not delighted to see that. That's forbidden knowledge. What's forbidden knowledge? Like the whole like making games and releasing them at once. I don't think that's forbidden knowledge at all, my dude. I don't think that's the case. Destiny 2, when I played it back in the day, I was really mad because after I grinded through the game and finished like the main campaign, you had absolutely nothing to do. And it was like that for a while until they started releasing DLC. You know, and the question might be, why the fuck do you need to wait until DLC is released in order for you to continue enjoying a game that you paid $60? Now, if the game was free, of course, like if Destiny was free back in the day, the way that I believe Destiny is actually free nowadays because I remember downloading it on Steam. I'm pretty sure that it is. But if it was free on release and you got 8 hours of content and you were able to play through, I mean, you can't complain. It's free. But you legitimately, I legitimately paid like a whole fucking $60 for that game. And I was really delighted to find out that I legitimately paid $7.50 an hour to play through what was basically like a quarter of a project. And later on, they started releasing the DLC and enhancing the game. But by that point, a lot of people had already left. I think nowadays the community has gotten a little more populated. But, you know, it is what it is. Wakanda Forever. I mean, you did a Wakanda Forever for Destiny 2, Vardas? I mean, knowing you and your opinion on this kind of general topic, you did a Wakanda Forever on Destiny 2 being like an 8-hour long game and nothing to do afterwards? Damn, dude, like you continue to surprise me, Vardas. Like I continue to get to know you, and I honestly don't know what the shift in opinion is. But is it fair? I mean, Destiny 2 was what, like super fucking overhyped? Like, I mean, people were kind of hoping that Destiny 2 would be a different norm from what Destiny 1 had been. Destiny 1 was the same delivery, where they delivered basically like a shell of a project, and then eventually through all the DLC that you had to purchase, by the way, with your own money, do the truffle shuffle. Oh my goodness. You doing the truffle shuffle? The fact that Destiny 2 sold you a game for $60 and you only played 8 hours? Like, we doing a truffle shuffle to that? Bet. All right. I mean, you know, everyone is different. I wouldn't be doing no fucking truffle shuffle like that. What in the fuck, dude? Like, Ashimura, you just like throwing money at developers, huh? Fuck Destiny 2. Like, bro, dude, I mean, Destiny 2 is probably like the biggest example of like massive hype that was like a massive fucking letdown, dude. Like, I think that's probably like one of the biggest examples that I have today. Imagine buying a game and 4 years later they rob you, dude. I mean, that's why I haven't purchased any of the DLC. Like, I've been playing through the actual base game conservatively, but you know, D2B, like, I agree with Ashimura. Yeah, like Vardos, I know you have like a very strong opinion about it. I know you have a very strong opinion about the fact that like Destiny 2 legitimately has taken content away from like people, and you know, they actually, it's legitimate robbery. They lock it away, you pay for it. Why the fuck don't you have access to it? Like, don't get me wrong, PvP wise it's amazing. I paid for all the first 2 seasons and expansions, and they just assumed it was all right to make it inaccessible. I mean, even like, I don't think that there's any reasoning whatsoever at all to justify the fact that they're taking your fucking content away, man. Like, I actually feel for you, Barter. It's like, if you spent money on Destiny 2 and somebody legitimately just came and took your shit away, it's like legitimately paying for a Subway sandwich, and then the employee comes like, hey, yo, I gotta have some lunch, and takes your shit away and eats it. What the fuck is that, dude? Discount Halo 2. I mean, like, the PvP kind of does feel like Halo 2 though, but like the story mode, yeah, like it was heavily influenced by Halo 2. Absolutely. Even weapons you didn't get prior are only available to those who did it, like Ace of Spades. The audacity is just so high in D2, like taking people's toys away that they paid for. Like, are you mental, Bungie? Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Bungie, I don't think that Bungie is the one that made these decisions, Vardos. I think Bungie made the decisions based on the fact that they had fucking Activision being the publisher, and Activision is one of the fucking greediest companies that exist today. Activision will legitimately push shit out the door even if it's not finished, because the fucking greed is just way too much, man. You know what I'm saying? Also, the new COD is absolute shit, and the crossplay with enhanced aimbot for controller is making it even worse. I mean, I actually heard that Modern Warfare 2 is shit, and we're gonna add it to this fucking list right here. Modern Warfare 2, for those of you that have actually played the game substantially, that have played through the campaign, I don't know, I mean, I know Nikki in the chat, if she's still here, I know Nikki has played through Modern Warfare 2. How is the multiplayer? Because like I've said this in multiple streams. I was going to pick up Modern Warfare 2. I was going to snag it up, and I was actually going to play it, but I decided to save up the money that I was given as part of the bundle for my PS5 and get Callisto Protocol instead. If that fucking game is a disappointment, I am legitimately going to get really fucking mad, because I'm legitimately saving $80 to spend on what Dead Space was supposed to be. Dead Space was an amazing game, by the way. I'm not shitting on Dead Space, but dude, that looks like a Dead Space 2.0 with like a ton of fucking improvements. Modern Warfare 2 has no fucking fairness in multiplayer. There has to be fucking matchmaking, but no. I mean, Call of Duty has had a massive problem with matchmaking for a very long time, Ashimura. I don't think they have ever resolved it, but they have had a ton of problems with multiplayer as it is, man. Like, for real, seen videos of holding the controller with one hand and still headshotting by just shooting and letting the console aimbot do the rest. I mean, you have to understand, Barter, is that for them to sell a lot of copies of this game, they have to they have to suit up to the population that is not a massive fan of COD. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a company, you know that like the regulars, like the people that buy the game every single year, are gonna be there. But what are you doing to bring in a new audience that's gonna fucking cough up the money? You gotta provide advantages that allow people an entry point into a platform that legitimately has decades of loyalty from some of these people, some of these fans. You know what I'm saying? And if some of you are in chat, I'm not bashing on you. Like, if you're a fan of COD and you enjoy COD gameplay, God bless you and everything. But let's be honest, the company that's like publishing this game, they don't give a fuck about like the many years that you have put into the game. They give a fuck about how many sales they're making. Nikki says, I honestly have been having a good time with it. What about, do you mean with the multiplayer or with like the main story? Also, the spawning is hilarious. Is the spawning as random as it used to be? Where like there was like I know that some people started getting kind of adapted to the spawning to where you legitimately had people predicting where you were gonna spawn and just fucking killing you over and over. That shit is fucking funny, bro, in a way. Like, if you think about it, that shit is hilarious. I still like Vanguard better, but so many people hate Vanguard. What about Vanguard do you like better compared to this new version, Nikki? Enlighten me. I'm probably not the person to ask. It's easy to please when it comes to gaming, with both honesty. Honestly, ever since Cyberpunk gaming has gone to shit. I wouldn't say that it has gone to shit, brothers. I think, like I keep saying, I feel like nowadays you have normalized. And I'm not saying like someone specifically has normalized, and we're celebrating about the fact that we are getting shitty gaming nowadays. Babe, I love you today, by the way. Thank you so much for the reading. Really appreciate you. But we have normalized releasing updates to games and allowing people to get half products out the door because there's internet connection, because there's access to that shit. I don't think Cyberpunk made it any worse. I don't think Cyberpunk has magnified the problem, but I think Cyberpunk has effectively highlighted one massive issue. You can release a game, you can sell copies, and then later on you can come and you can make amazing updates, but by that time you have already done enough damage to your gamer base to where it doesn't even fucking matter. Cyberpunk proof for everyone to see that you can blatantly lie, deceive, and con people for their money and still make profit because most people won't return or resell games they bought. Like, the amount of false advertisements and shit they pulled us is insane. Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I feel like Cyberpunk, and I think that's another example of like a game that had a massive amount of hype and it was just a shitty release. Now, the story with Cyberpunk goes that the Cyberpunk was designed in order to work on PC. But they didn't do the actual work to make sure that that same base game actually functioned with with the platform gaming that they were intended to release it on. So then when they rolled it back into platforms, they didn't really do any tuning, and that's why you had a lot of those fucking problems with like the platforms. Because I don't think that the PC side of it had as many issues as you had with like the platforms that actually ran the game. Even the current PS5 version still has big bugs years and years later. Yeah, it's like a Fallout 76, right? I don't think Fallout 76 is ever going to be fixed to the point where legitimately you are going to have a game that just functions correctly, man. I feel like at that point when Fallout 76 came out, do you guys remember that big fucking Activision conference? Hi, this is McMuffins, and while I was actually going through the editing to release the podcast on YouTube, I realized that I said the Activision conference instead of the Bethesda conference. That was honestly a fuck up on my side. I didn't mean to say it that way. It's one of the first podcasts that I have ever done, and it's easy to slip up and not have your thoughts completely compiled together. So apologies on that one, fam. Didn't mean to do it. It was not my intent. But we'll go ahead and keep on running with the video. For like freaking Todd, like freaking overhyped the shit out of the game. Like, gave you a bunch of details about how fucking graphically advanced and shit it was gonna be, and then like what happened? Like, the fucking release was like I would probably argue it's one of the if not one, like one of the biggest fucking disasters in gaming history, dude. Holy shit. When they released that game, it was so bad that like legitimately gaming firms, gaming stores were giving copies of the game away for free when you bought a platform. They were pushing them out the door so bad because that game was legitimately a shitty piece of work. And there's no shame in going back and recollecting upon, what happened. Like you have to touch up on the fact that we keep allowing this and that this has become a norm because internet connection has become better over the years. And I don't think that it's an excuse to keep delivering shitty products to people because you have the promise of being able to deliver a fix later. I think people are paying for the experience this very moment. People are not paying for the experience later on. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like on that aspect, it is absolutely shitty and insane that we continue to normalize this as a way of releasing content out to people. I definitely don't agree. Vargas, like, don't get me wrong, the premise of the story is nice, but they literally promise people to become ninjas that run on walls and have blades and as hands and feet and fight like some anime protagonists. And then like a few months before release, they were like, sorry, we just found out running on walls and all that jazz is no longer a plan of ours. If you have plans and you change the plans to like make a different game, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I think what there is wrong with it is the fact that you keep running a project and then when you don't finish it, publishers push it out the fucking door because the urgency to get your hands on money and everything else is just way bigger than delivering a solid piece of content for people to actually enjoy. You could argue the same shit with movies and TV shows, by the way. I mean, for example, the new Blade movie has had like a change of director, and like it's just going through like a bundle of shit because of the fact that legitimately they can't get the shit together on like who's going to be running it, and they have had to change the script multiple times on Blade. And that's okay, right? But they're not releasing Blade on that state, so at least they have time to work on it and change it. The next AAA game will be like advertising with dating pretty boys and ladies on a nudist beach. Then the weirdos pre-ordered a collector's edition, and then the company will be like, oopsie, we forgot, we never intended you to date pretty nudist. Sorry, we have misled you. I kind of get the essence of what you're saying, Vardaris, but like, I don't know, dude. I don't know how I feel about that example. But I don't know, man, as a consumer myself, because I love watching movies and I love watching shows more than I used to. I think once I found my other half, I think I have gotten an actual appreciation for, watching movies and TV shows and being able to kind of, admire them and enjoy them and consume. But I don't know, man, like I feel like there's just been a downward trend where legitimately, like nowadays, you don't even get good movies anymore, man. Like the shit that comes out on the theaters. Like, for example, Smile was a delightful surprise. Barbarian was a delightful surprise. But Halloween Ends, bro, like I've seen Halloween Ends just not getting very solid reviews like on the websites. And it kind of sucks, dude, because like I know that a lot of people really enjoy the Halloween franchise, and being able to get these films that legitimately do a fucking massive disservice to the fan base that has legitimately been loyal to these. It's not fair. I don't think that is fair. Like, if I've been a fan of the series for 20 years and then like I'm looking forward to some of these remakes and like, some of the retouching, and they legitimately take a shit on what used to be the original story, and then they kind of come back and try to fix it through some other means, and it just becomes like a pile of shit. Like, I wouldn't be very happy about that, The example is flawed, but there actually was a documentary made about how Cyberpunk built a bridge for excuses, early access, and other deep betrayals on advertisements. Coconut Oni, welcome in, my dude. How you doing tonight, man? Tonight, we are discussing games, TV shows, and movies that were hyped as fuck and then were shit upon release. We have already touched up on Fallout 76. We have touched up on Cyberpunk. We have touched up on Destiny 2. If you have any other examples that you want to bring up and discuss, definitely bring them up and discuss them, my guy. Good to see you, by the way, man. Thank you so much for dropping in. Like, you light the flame of deceit, and then the companies will follow you into the dark just to save a buck. Yeah, like I think every single time that you have a company getting away with some shit like this, you tend to build a fucking norm. You tend to build a norm for what is going to be the direction. Gotham Knights complete raccoon shit. Did you actually scoop up Gotham Knights, or you been watching some footage and some gameplay lately after release? Gotham Knights is great. What you on about? And Far Cry series after the third. What about Gotham Knights do you not like, Coconut, and that definitely deceived you? Complete shit. I mean, honestly, like, everyone has like their opinions on the game. Like, Vardaris, if you like Gotham Knights, there's nothing wrong with it. But like, I mean, Gotham Knights has not been received well, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the feedback, the path they took from the series. So like, you're deceived by the fact that like Gotham Knights definitely deviated from like the general storyline with like DC. Is that the disappointment that you saw? The 60 frames, yeah, like I saw that the 60 frames was like a massive issue, because I feel like 60 frames is the standard nowadays, man. Like, 60 frame gaming is the standard. 30 frame streaming is the limitation on Twitch. But if I was able to stream on 60 frames and do it beautifully, of course I fucking would, dude. It's a massive difference. It seems like it was rushed and a cop out. Yeah, like I mean, and that's the thing, bro. It's that like companies nowadays tend to rush it and just push it out the door, man. I feel like Gotham Knights is a reverse example. Like, the reviews show a bad light, but the game is nice. Vardaris, but what about the game do you like, though? Like, you gotta give me some examples, because like Coconut has said, look, I don't think that I agree with the fact that like they deviated from the storyline. And also, I said this when I watched the trailer. Like, when I watched the trailer some time ago, I said this, and I said it, and I will repeat it. I was going to be very mad if legitimately all you could play with was 4 characters. Like, for example, if you go back to the days of Xbox and you go back to X-Men Apocalypse, how many fucking playable characters did that game have? And how many characters were you able to go in and you were able to do shit with? Like my favorite was Iceman. Iceman was fucking broken in Apocalypse, man. But the fact that you had a lot of selection, the fact that you had a lot of variety to play with, legitimately made that game great. Respect your opinion, but I feel the company did some harm to the game. Come on, bro. There are a lot of 10 out of 10 games you can play that are from years ago and are below 30 frames. I mean, that's not the point, Vardas, but like you're talking about historical product, my dude. Nowadays, in today's day and age, you have to play games at a faster frame rate. I feel like if you go from playing 165 frames to going to 30, you notice the difference, and I don't think you would like it. And like I said, some of the product that was made back in the day where 30 frames was the norm, I don't think you can disrespect that product because it was designed with the standards that were there at the time, which was 30 frames. Plus, new consoles are out that are able to handle higher frame rates. Right. So you have the industry standards nowadays. It seems like it was made for Game Boy. Oh shit, yo, that is that is throwing some shade on that game, my dude. Holy fuck, that is some shade and a half right there, my dude. But I don't think that you can use I don't think that the argument can be used that, hey, like 30 frames used to be okay and they should be okay now. No, like the industry standards and what people consider acceptable nowadays for gaming is completely different. I think like the whole dynamic of pushing higher graphics, higher like delivery, higher processing times, like all of that is the new standard nowadays. And you know, if it takes you more time to try to deliver that experience, legit opinions are valid, but why critique stuff with arguments that just seem uninformed? What seems uninformed about the fact that like nowadays 60 frames is like a standard, dude? That's not uninformed. You cannot tell me that like you definitely enjoy you cannot tell me that you enjoy playing 30 frames nowadays, my dude. Like I'm pretty sure, Varder, is that like if you got a game that gave you 30 frames, I don't think that like you would be too happy, man. Like with now today's day and age, I don't know, bro. I mean, maybe you don't mind the frame rates as much, but I feel like the population. Read the sentence before that. Let me see. Seems like it was made for Game Boy, but that's not an argument, my dude. Like, I don't think that's an argument, Barters. But dude, like the fact is, for example, like in general, like and I've said this before, like if you enjoy a game and you vibe with it and like you like it, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's not like people are gonna hold you, you know, to the gun and say, dude, like you have to like this game because everybody likes it. Like if you like, for example, me, right? That's my opinion. I'm not arguing. So no mind. Let me see. Let me go ahead and read the sentence before that. There's a lot of 10 out of 10 games you can play that are from years ago that are below 30 frames. I mean, like I said, if years ago the norm was playing 30 frame games, I don't think you can use that. You said you want more than 4 characters? Dude, are you serious? Like, I mean, maybe that was my expectation. Maybe. Let me see. I'm trying to find your sentence. I feel like Gotham Knights is the reverse. Let me see. Legit opinions are valid. In a game about literally 4 characters. I mean, but well, I mean, I guess maybe on that one. If the game was designed to be around 4 characters, I feel like as a DC fan, I would need an explanation as to why you are literally choosing 4 characters. You know what I mean? Let's see. This game feels it's centered around limits. Here's little this and that and have fun. Plus, we waited years for this new Batman game. Disrespect to us and DC fans. Right. So, like, for me, for example, I had an expectation to have more characters. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with having more characters. Now, if the game was designed around 4, I feel like fans definitely need an explanation as to why you're only choosing 4 characters. Was there any background provided on the game, by the way? I mean, the game is called Gotham Knights because based on the Gotham Knight comics involving the trainees that Batman... Yeah, I didn't see that message, Boris. That message did not pop up, buddy. Involving the trainees that Batman trained and you want more than 4 people. I mean, I don't think that, like, there's anything wrong with requesting more playable characters, bro. Like, if you want to center the story around 4 characters, that's fine. But you're gonna pay $70 for 4 characters, bro? Like, come on, man. Like nowadays, I mean, even with like X-Men Apocalypse, like a lot of the unlockable characters that you had were not part of the main story, man. At least I don't think that they were. I think that the main like the additional characters that they provided were basically like bonus characters that you could play. But I think the story was like structured pretty similarly, even with the extra characters. Unless I'm wrong and it's been like a long time since I played the game. Maybe it might be, but like, I don't know, bro. I mean, so Coconut is upset about it. Vargas, you liked it. There's nothing wrong with either approach, either opinion. You know, like if you like the game, you like the game. If you don't, you don't. But dude, it has not been received very well, man. You know, like a lot of people have had a lot to say about Gotham Knights, especially like the 30 frame gaming. I think that's like the biggest complaint that people have about it. Batman died and his kids will take over the mantle and protect his city. Why would Green Arrow be like, okay, I'm abandoning my city and now I will save Gotham? Makes no sense. I'm just saying the game could have been delivered better. We have to hold these companies accountable. Look at what happens to Cyberpunk. Hype a game up and it comes as low grade. Yeah, we were talking about that, Coconut. Like the fact that legitimately Cyberpunk came out and it was just like a pile of garbage, bro. Like it was legitimately like one of the worst gaming releases like in gaming history. I think it'll go down infamously as just like something that should never be done again. But let's be fucking honest, it's probably gonna be done again. Because companies nowadays are able to get away with this kind of approach where you can deliver something half made and then you can proceed to effectively just release updates later on that are supposed to fix the game. I don't even think that the game is fully fixed, by the way. I think that the game still has some issues here and there. I mean, would I like to play Cyberpunk one day? Perhaps. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like all of the feedback and all of like the freaking journalism on it that like, pushed me away from ever trying it. I mean, just like last night, for example, Atomic just joined my game and appeared in my world with loading screens and we beat up some criminals. Vargas, buddy, so like if you enjoy the game, that's cool, man. Like we're not trying to say that the game is not good and that you should hate it. Like if you enjoy the game, that's cool, bro. But like the game is not received well, man. Like we have to be factual about this. If Gotham Knights was revered and was received well, and someone didn't like it, I would have the same opinion. I would have the same opinion about it. If you don't like the game, it's cool to not like it. It's cool to criticize it. It's cool to say, hey, these are the aspects that I don't like. A great example is the Resident Evil Village DLC that I played through and that I finished last night. Right? Did I like the DLC? I didn't completely like it. I think I have a lot of criticism that I'm going to be talking about in detail when I work on that video. And people might come at me and say, bro, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like you got it all wrong, bro. Like the story explains everything. Like it explains why like the big dude, whatever, dude. Okay, but it's my opinion, right? I didn't like it because of the different aspects, the mechanics. I thought the mechanics were kind of shitty. You know, the story made no sense to me. You know, as a big fan of the RE series, I think I can say that it was not my favorite piece of content to play. All I'm saying, God of War is Game of the Year. Boy, Coconut, that is a big argument, my dude, right there. Elden Ring, dude, as much of a fan as I am of God of War, fuck, dude, I don't think it's gonna tumble Elden Ring. Like, Elden Ring has had 9 months of solid just exposure to people to like legitimately. I think it's gonna take it, no problem. I wish God of War would actually take it, depending on how the game is, by the way. If the game is shitty, I'm gonna criticize it the same way that I criticized the Resident Evil DLC, honestly. Yeah, but my argument would be the reviewers are like a bit harsh, so while it's not well received, I feel like the seamless co-op and the details and individual characters like all foreplay entirely is a good one and a lot of fun. Vargas, nothing wrong if you enjoy, my dude, but I think we have to recognize that I think one of the bigger topics is the fact that it was legitimately rushed out the door. Like the game is not in a state where people can enjoy it the way that they would like. And it is not, and I don't think that it's a point to say we used to play at 30 frames. I feel like it should be enough to play at 30 frames. Like if they didn't update it and they didn't modify it and they didn't strengthen it for 60 frame gameplay, that is a big factor for a lot of people nowadays, you know? And there's nothing wrong with just looking at it and saying, hey, like I feel like I wish I could play at 60 frames. It's at 30. I'm let down. Like, holy shit, dude, I cannot play this game. How is it rushed though? I mean, it's rushed out the door because they couldn't really adjust the game to 60 frames, buddy. That's how it's rushed. Like, if you go into the game and you want to adjust the game to 30 frames and you want to put it at 30 frames, that's fine. But you cannot tell me that it's not rushed out when the only way that you can play it is 30 frames on a PS5, bro. The PS5 is so fucking capable. I mean, let's be real. Most 4K games on PS don't play 60. Yeah, but that's 4K definition, buddy. Like, I don't think that people even have 4K TVs to even play the content on 4K. So is that content on 4K running 30 frames everywhere else? I don't think that's the case, buddy. God of War doesn't go 60. God of War got pushed to 60 on PC, bro. It actually got modified and it got pushed up to 60 on PC. 1460 frames. Dude, nobody, like, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, Barbarous. Barely anybody owns 4K equipment to be able to run games at 4K. I think 4K and 8K right now are legitimately, like, you know, they're expensive to get. I don't think that people really notice that much of a difference between 4K and, like, you know, your standard 1080p. I think you should be able to play it at whatever resolution you have, but I don't think that you should be getting locked in at 30 frames on 1080p. That shit is way too fucking outdated at this point. I think we have our own experiences of the game. That's okay, but there's facts about the game that's out there that speaks out the truth and reality. I mean, that's the case, right? Like, if people like Cyberpunk, or people liked Destiny 2, or people liked Fallout 76, dude, that's fine. Like, if they enjoy the game and had fun. But we cannot absolutely deny the fact that these games have been fucking disappointments on release, man. Like Destiny 2, like I said earlier, being able to only play like 8 hours of content and then you got nothing else to do, bro. Like I don't think people enjoy that. Fallout 76, with the amount of bugs, like the resolution decreases, like all of the stuff that was just involved with it, dude. Like, I don't think people really enjoy that. There was a ton of pushback, a ton of bad press. I mean, for a store to legitimately be giving your game out for free in multiple copies with a console purchase that you do not want to take home because you know that Fallout 76 is a shitty game, should speak numbers and weigh on by itself about how bad it was. Game Boy frames, facts, another Halo game. Recent one died in first week. What was the recent one, by the way? You mean like Halo 5 multiplayer? Is that what you're talking about, Coconut? The thing though is PS5 don't run 1080p, so why would they program Gotham Knights to go 120 FPS on 1080? I mean, you're telling me that you cannot play a PS5 on a 1080p TV? Barbarous, is that what I'm hearing? I don't think that's accurate, buddy. I think, like, for a PS5, like, you have to adjust to, like, the variety of resolutions. I feel like if you were playing on 1200 by like 768, I feel like that's outdated as shit, right? So I think maybe going that low might not make sense, but you're gonna tell me that people have to go buy a new 4K TV to enjoy a game, bro? Like, come on, man. I just feel as a native 4K player, people dick riding the frames is lazy and have had a single lag on 4K so far. Buddy, like, nobody is dick riding the frame rate. I feel like if you have a lower resolution TV and you're playing through the game and you want to play it at a higher frame rate, or if you have the option to downgrade from 4K to a lower resolution to enjoy faster frame rates, I don't think that's dick riding frame rates. I honestly think that frame rate makes an absolutely fucking significant difference, dude. It does. Frame rate is inarguable. Like, it makes a difference. PS5 can run Hive, man. I just feel, let's see, PS5 supports 1400 since like 2 months. It is not built for 1400. Why would you not build it for 1400, brothers? That's the point. Why would you not build a game to run at lower resolutions where people are not able to afford 4K TVs? Why do we have to settle with needing a 4K TV in order to run a game that runs 30 frames? Now, if you want to run 30 frames at 4K and enjoy the quality, cool. But if I have a TV that's like freaking like 1080p, I can't play this game because I don't have a 4K TV. And if I play it at 1080p, if I'm able to even run it at 1080p, I'm going to have to settle with 30 frames at 1080p. Like, they added that in like a 2.0 update. I don't know, bro. I mean, regardless, dude, like, are people happy that they had to take an update to get like the fucking legitimately get like a feature that's supposed to be included day one as like, you know, as an additional feature on the game? Because it's a $600 console, why are you having a monitor that is less than your console? Varder, that is legitimately like fucking bashing on people, bro. Legitimately. Like, you cannot expect people to get a fucking $4,000 or $5,000 TV with a $600 console when they're only be able to scrape up enough money for a $600 console, bro. I feel like that's not even an argument, dude. Like, if I had a TV that still works, that's still giving me good quality, and I get a PS5 and I find out, oh, buddy, in order for you to enjoy our game, you legitimately have to upgrade to a $4,000 TV because, hey, we only released it on 4K. I'm not fucking buying that game, bro. Come on, man. Like, if you build a new PC, do you put in a 4090 and play on 1080 22-inch? Be real. If you have a 4090 and you want to enjoy a game with a CPU that does not allow you to run for like at 4K resolutions, you're gonna play on 1080p. Absolutely, you are. Like, it's not just on the GPU. Like, there's more to a computer than just the GPU, or there's more to a computer than a CPU. It's like the combination of components allows you to run certain things. But if I want to run a stream and I want to run a game and I cannot run a stream with a 4K game and I need to go down to 1080p, do I need to beef up everything on my PC to be able to run 4K? Because legitimately, like, I have a powerful PC that should be running 4K. Like, dude, come on, man. Game has good story. DC fans appreciate it. Company fucked it up on the go. Yeah, like, I mean, I feel like it's just like the frame rate argument. I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like nowadays, like, I think we absolutely just deserve to keep it moving, bro. Like, just faster frame rates. That's the norm. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's an argument. But regardless, I think the general trend, my dude, is the fact that I don't know. Like, is it acceptable as a society, as a gaming society, as a movie watching society, as a show society, like as a show appreciating society? Is it a fair thing to legitimately keep getting all this shitty content out the door that legitimately builds hype for months and months and months and months? And once you get your hands on it and watch it or play it or experience it, then you're like, bro, that was shitty. Like, Squid Games Season 2 might legitimately be that. Like, I mean, Squid Games 2 has taken its time, and I really hope that all the additional time that they're taking to develop the show is legitimately like solid as fuck. How much are we paying for Gotham Knights and we're getting 30 FPS? It's just we're making a base point at 1080p in 2022. Vardoris, like I said, like, I feel like you are like 1080p gaming is not a bad thing. Most people on Twitch play at 1080p, bro. Like the highest quality you can achieve as an affiliate is 1080p. There's nothing wrong with 1080p. But I mean, being able to only play at 30 frames when you don't want to play at 30 frames, is that something that you just have to settle with because, hey, like, that's what they were able to achieve before they released it? And now you need an update? Now, like a week or 2 weeks later, you need an update in order to allow 60 frame gaming to be a go? Come on, bro. Come on, man. Nothing wrong with the quality. Yeah, can be done on PS4, but like, if you have a PS5, why do you have to settle for 4K, my dude? That's the question. Like, why do you have to settle down and legitimately have to like play 30 frames on 1080p because the game doesn't have a feature to push higher frame rates? And they needed an update to make it happen because obviously the fucking backlash has been like massive on it. But I think that's just like the general story, man. Like, that's the general like direction of all of this. It's like the fact that legit, dude, it's acceptable to get shitty delivery, shitty content. And I think like people just kind of swallow the pill and keep moving on, but I don't know, bro. I don't know. There's some shady stuff with Gotham Knights. If you have a PS5, you have to play high resolution. Varder, is that like I said, bro. Come on, man. Like I said, if you have a PS5 and you have a 1080p TV, you do not have to go out and buy a $4,000 TV to play in 4K. You don't have to, bro. Like, I don't think that's a requirement to enjoy a game. And even if you wanted to run it at 60 and go down on quality, you should have that choice. It's not acceptable. It's not an excuse to say you gotta upgrade to 4K, man, because that's the only way that you can run the game, bro. Like, come on, man. Come on. Not even performance mode. What up, Muffins? Hey, yo, Sulu, welcome in, buddy. We're out here talking about Gotham Knights, and the general topic tonight for this podcast is games, movies, and TV shows that were a flop after getting fucking hyped up for months. That's the topic. And we have talked about Fallout 76. We have talked about Halloween Kills. We have talked about Cyberpunk. We were touching up on Gotham Knights. We're having a conversation about like what's acceptable in terms of like being able to play with specific frame rates. Like, I don't know, bro. I fucks with Gotham Knights considering its mishaps. So like you enjoy it though, right? Like the fact that like it has mishaps does not stop you from enjoying the game. But Sulu, do you have a 4K TV, by the way, or what kind of TV do you have? Let me ask you that question. But that is so crazy that you're putting a Lamborghini engine in an old 4. I enjoy it. Okay, but like, do you have like a 1080p like monitor, or do you have like a 4K monitor? What you rolling with, homie? Predator flop 2. Predator. What's Predator? You mean like the Predator game where like you could go hunting people around? Like I feel like every single game that is following like the DVD concept has kind of flopped around too, bro. Got a 4K monitor. Okay, Sulu. So you upgraded to a 4K monitor. Haven't seen a single dude be like, I'll buy a PS5 to play on my 20-inch screen because I'm a weirdo. Bro, that's not being a weirdo, Barters. That's legitimately called budgeting and like not having enough money to just upgrade, bro. Sulu, let me ask you this question, bro. So you got a 4K monitor, you're able to run the game. But legitimately, if you had a 1080p monitor and that's the only thing that you had and that's the only thing that you could run the game on, and you find out that you cannot run Gotham Knights because you do not have a 4K monitor, would that upset you or would you not mind that? Nobody buys a PS5 at the current pricing to play 20-inch of PP. Varters, dude, like, I don't understand, bro. Like, PS5s are already difficult as it is to obtain. If I get one and I have a 1080p TV, now I gotta run out to the store, bro. Now I gotta run out to go get a 4K TV because Gotham Knights can only run in 4K 30 frames. Come on, man. Like, that's not even an argument, dude. Like, you're legitimately like downgrading a lot of the population that is legitimately even able to get a monitor or get a PS5 because money is tight nowadays, bro. When I used to have a 1080p, I never got butthurt over the resolution. Solo, the question is, if you got Gotham Knights today, also, by the way, thank you for the Daily Muffin reading, Melly. Really appreciate you and welcome in to this interesting conversation. If you had a 1080p monitor, Sulu, and you have a PS5, let's say, argument's sake, you go out, you buy Gotham Knights, you come back, and you legitimately want to play this game. That's the only monitor that you have, bro. You were able to cough up $600-$700 to get the bundle. You happy? You got the PS5. You got Gotham Knights, boy. You drop by Sonic. You get yourself an ocean water. You're that fucking level of. You are at that level of hype. You get an ocean water. You get some tater tots from Sonic. You ready to game? You fucking hook up everything. You pop in the game. You find out, nah, bro. You can only play at 4K, 30 frames. If you don't have 4K, can't play. Like, how would you feel? Like, I would feel like fucking, I would return that game immediately, bro. Like, what the fuck? I would be pretty tight. Yeah, dude. Like, come on, man. Also, thank you so much for the Daily Muffin redeem, Sulu. Really appreciate you. We have to simplify. We have to simplify this conversation. The fact the game was solid to us. DC fans had that please some, but facts show the game wasn't sold as a standard game for customers. That's not budgeting. Are you molding? Budgeting means getting the most out of your money. So quality and FPS at maximum that you can get from the money you have, getting a good 14p and a PS4 or Pro. To run the frames in games, you have higher budgeting value than buying a big also console or higher than marketing price to play on 1080p. For a half an hour saying 1080p, folks don't bother with frames and resolution. But that's not the argument, Varters. That is not the argument that we're having, buddy. You are coming out here legitimately saying, boy, you have to play at 4K because that is legitimately the hardware that you have. You have to play at 4K. All I'm arguing with is that if you legitimately don't have the money to get the hardware to play a game at 4K, I don't know why I should have to cough up more money to go get a monitor to play at 4K if I have a 1080p monitor. Like, I don't think that should be a requirement for me to enjoy a game. I don't think I get where you're coming from. Yeah, like you can understand though, Sulu, right? I mean, if you have the budget and if you have the money, you're like, you know what, man, like let me enjoy the maximum output of the console. I want to play 4K. Nothing wrong with that. Unfortunately, most people are not going to have the flexibility to be able to afford everything at once. Maybe you have to play on 1080p and you really wish that you had like a 4K monitor, and you know, and that's what you're running with for some time, but you cannot play Gotham because it's running at 4K. Whoa, man. They're saying there are no new games that run 60 FPS on console with high resolution. Varters, but if you wanted to play 60 frames per second on a lower resolution because you care more about frame rate than you do about quality, you should have the option to tune the game, turn it to 60, lower the quality, and play at 60 frames. Gotham Knights does not have that on release. I'm sorry. Does not have it. Come on, man. Like, you should be able to make that decision. I don't think that like the decision should be made for you. Like, you can only play at 4K. That's it. 30 frames. That's all you got. I feel like people should have the flexibility to adjust to whatever they want to do. Like, you like quality, you like 4K gaming, great. But not all people are like that, Varder. It's like, and not everyone should be like that. I feel like that's like a one-sided opinion right there. I don't think people should have that same mentality about you gotta maximize the output of the console because that's how you need to play it. I don't think that's a good argument at all. Then you have to pay for PC release easy. God of War doesn't have this decision. Spider-Man doesn't have it. Horizon Forbidden West doesn't have it. Buddy, but I don't mind playing at 30 frames. If I'm running the game at 4K and it's, I don't think my monitors are even 4K, right? So like, I'm not even going to be able to play in 4K anyway, right? Am I going to go out and run and get like $400 or $500 monitors because I have to play on 4K, bro? Because that's what the console is outputting. Nah, dude, come on, man. As an option to go to 1080p. What I'm saying is that you should be able to play on 1080p and output more frames. I'm not saying that you have the option to just game at 30. I'm not saying that if you have a 4K monitor that you're legitimately going to push down to 1080p and play at a higher frame rate just because. What I'm saying is I have 1080p monitors. I'm pretty sure both 2 monitors are playing at 1080p. I'm not going to run out to the store and get 4K monitors just so that I can output the maximum quality of the PS5. Not going to happen. Like, I'm legitimately going to run at whatever I can at 1080p because I don't have the budget to go out and get new monitors just because, like, that's what the console outputs. And if I have the option to be able to play at 1080p and the game is able to output higher frame rates because the resolution is lower, so therefore I should be able to output higher frames. The Gotham Knights, I don't think even gives you that option. I don't think it even allows you to do that, right? If I'm not wrong, like, you just capped at 30. So like that's the argument that I'm saying. Like, if you have 1080p monitors, you should be able to game at 1080p. And if the console has to adjust to give you higher frame rates because of it, well, that it is what it is. Now, if the console doesn't have that option in general and all you can output is 30, then I'll swallow the argument, right? I mean, it is an opinion after all, and like we're talking about this kind of stuff because it's all opinionated and opinion based, and we can all learn something here and there. You know what I mean? Most PS5 games run on a scale frame rate that runs somewhere between 20 to 40 frames on 1400p to 4K. What about 1080p, Barters? What about 1080p? That's the point, buddy. I mean, it sounds like if you extrapolate it, you should be able to run 60 at 1080p. The console never adjusts to your resolution. So how is it that you can obtain 20 to 40 maximum on 14p to 4K? How is that even possible? Your software and your hardware have to adjust based on the frame rate that you're outputting. It's got to. That's why I'm kind of like engaging on this. Like, you argue like other gamers, like other games do this. I mean, I haven't gamed on the PS5 that much. But I imagine that if I'm legitimately being pushed to game on 4K when I don't have 4K monitors, like, I should be able to get higher frame rates. Should be able to. There's no 1080 mode on PS5 or Xbox, so you're telling me that I cannot game at 1080p on PS5 or Xbox. That's BS. That's gotta be BS. So now I gotta run out and get higher hardware to even run a PS5. Like, I was able to afford a PS5 with my 1080p monitors. Nah, bro. Nah, you're too poor to game. Gotham Knights started something. It started something, all right, man. But it's all healthy conversation. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you're building up an argument and you're kind of basing it off. Now, like I said, this is an opinion. If I'm wrong on the opinion, and I definitely haven't really looked like into every single setting on the PS5. If I'm wrong on it and I get caught up on it, I'll swallow the argument, man. Like, you know, it's not like I'm going to be sitting here hard-headed about it and say, hey, you know, like, I'm right. Like, obviously it's an opinion. But I honestly just find it a little ridiculous that, like, you shouldn't be able to run 1080p on a PS5 just because of the output mode, and you shouldn't be able to run higher frames because of the fact that, like, it's 1400p to like 4K or whatever. They legitimately said the console don't support 14p monitors, that they patched it after launch. So yeah, the company said screw poor folks, you are right. But that's a Sony and Xbox opinion, and they went back on it. They had to. I mean, but the argument goes back to, should Gotham Knights be capped at 30 frames? I mean, I think even the PC release was capped at 30 frames. When you're able to run higher frame rates on PC, should you be capped at 30 frames? I don't think that you should be capped, or you should be you should need to be getting capped dude, I sound like a drunk man right now. You shouldn't need to be capped at 30 frames on PC or anywhere else that you can run 60. I don't think that should be the case. Now, if the limitations of the PS5 don't allow you to run higher frame rates, like I said, I'll swallow the argument. I mean, it is what it is. But on PC, 30 frames? Like, people playing it at 30 frames on PC with powerful hardware? Come on, man. Arkham series all day. Dude, I gotta play through the Arkham series at some point. Like, I have seen people play through it, and it just looks like a blast. But we're going to conclude our podcast today by saying the following. There's a lot of examples out there of games, movies, TV shows. We talked about a few examples. I think if you dig deep enough, you can definitely find a game, a TV show, or a movie that has pissed you off beyond belief, that you were maybe looking forward to watching or experiencing for months at a time. And once it got delivered, you were like, what the fuck is this, bro? Like, I'm out of here, dude. Like, what is this? At the end of the day, I feel like that's the norm that the industries are going to take, man. I feel like that's going to be the norm that a lot of these companies are just going to keep taking. Hey, like, people don't speak up on it. People don't do anything to kind of revert this. So we're just going to keep chugging on forward with delivering half-made games and movies that legitimately disappoint. I don't know, bro. Like, do you guys feel like you should be able to speak out with your wallet and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to watch this fucking movie because it sucks. And again, I think it's difficult to also move up on that. I mean, I'm not encouraging anybody to just boycott anything. I feel like boycotts on certain aspects are like an interesting tactic. But what I'm saying is that it's just an interesting norm that we're moving towards, to where, like, for games, like, you're releasing half-made or like quarter-made games, and then you release patch updates later to legitimately get it to a state where it should have been at release. It should have been there at release. You have to keep patching. You have to keep providing those updates in order to get games to run the way that you want them to run. And I mean, depending on how you look at it, at the end of the day, if you enjoy a game, if you like the way that it plays, if you like the way that it runs, if you like everything about it, and the general consensus from everyone else is, dude, this game is ass, I don't think anyone should like it. I don't think that's the right opinion either. But at the same time, I think that the general voice speaking out and saying, hey, like, this is a trashy piece of content also is not a bad argument for it at all. PC games should give options, but all I'm saying is consoles have never had those options, and even openly state that 1440p is too low for the current generation, and walked back on it, so we can't expect planning and scaling for 1080 when they build it for 40k 30 frames. Like, the entire Series X and PS5 are legit built to be 4K 20 to 40 FPS consoles at maximum. 20 frames at maximum? Bro, I'm returning that fucking game, dude. If you come up to me and give me a game that's running 20 frames, I'm not gonna fucking play that game. I'm so sorry. I am sorry. If you delivered me a game that's running 20 frames, I'm not playing that shit. I don't care. Like, that's my opinion. Now, if you find a game that's running 20 frames and you enjoy it, great, congratulations. But for me, I don't think I would be able to play anything at 20 frames. I mean, running stream at 20 frames, I feel like it would definitely, I mean, this is 30 frames right here. We're like fucking doing the wave at 30 frames. I don't know, bro. Like, I feel like there is a standard where legitimately you need to keep making progress forward. Smokey, my dude, thank you so much for dropping by, my guy. Really appreciate you. God of War 120, dude. God of War at 120 frames would be hilarious, bro. I'm not gonna lie. That game would be running like beyond smooth. They have a scaled frame system. So why can't you scale down to 1080p, brothers? Why can't you scale down to 1080p? If you run, I imagine that if you're running 1440p, you're gonna be running a higher frame rate than you're gonna be running at 4K, right or wrong? I feel like you are going to be running better at 1440 than you're gonna be running at 4K. So it goes from 20 to like 40 and stuff, depending on situation, so you don't see it. Dude, a 20 frame and a 40 frame, it's a massive difference, Varders. You cannot tell me that you don't see the difference. It is massive. Massive difference between the two resolutions. Smokey, before we go on the podcast, do you have anything that you have to share regarding like a shitty movie, game, or TV show that you were super hyped up for that let you the fuck down when it got released? Let me know your thoughts. Melly, you as well, if you're still in chat, if you have any examples of anything that let you down upon release that you were really hyped up for months, let me know. Let me hear those examples. They announced a new God of War will be 30 on the high quality mode as well. That's fine, dude. That's fine. But legitimately, I feel like if that's how they are going to, they're communicating that it's going to be 30. And I don't think that the last game even ran at 60 as well. But I mean, when they release God of War on PC eventually, they're not going to cap the game at 30 frames, Vardos. They're not going to be like, hey, 30 is the only way that you can play the game. Like, it's not going to be the only way. You know, if you have a 1080p monitor, you should be able to downscale to 60 and play the game at 60. I feel like that should be an option. I hope Ragnarok isn't a disappointment. Smokey, I don't know, man. I mean, they have taken their time making Ragnarok. I don't think it will be. I mean, I've had a couple of community people, like members of the community, tell me that, like, you know, they're gonna check out the game before they decide to buy it because they weren't too delighted with God of War 1 or what we call God of War 4, like based on the series. I don't even blame people if they want to check it out for some time, man, because it is a $70 game, bro. $70 game. I'm super sad that they replaced The Witcher for season 4. Yeah, like, bro, like, it's gonna be weird seeing my other man like just be The Witcher, bro. Like, I feel like people are. I don't know if people have been complaining, but like, it's just gonna be different. Game is good. Gold. I really hope so, Coconut. I mean, I know that they released like 5 hours of gameplay. I saved myself from watching any of it because I legitimately want to experience the game for the first time when it drops. But I heard a lot of feedback that the game is looking super solid, man. So like, I don't think it'll be a flop. I think it's gonna be a good game, bro. So I checked it for you. Okay, so you checked like the scaling and stuff. Ragnarok has a targeted frame rate of 30 on 4K. 4K. What about 1440? What's going to be the frame rate at 1440? If you have a 1440 monitor, what's going to be the frame rate at 1440? That means it will be 30 at best on 4K. What about 1440? Because I'm assuming that they're going to release the game and you're going to be able to play it on a lower resolution if you don't have a 4K monitor. You have to. So at 1440, what's going to be the frame rate? If it's 30 at 1440, like I said, it's the same argument. Like, why should I be needing to play the game at 30 at a lower resolution? It should be running faster. But for me, I know I'm going to enjoy God of War. So I feel like that argument would be a little bit on the minimal side. You know what I'm saying? But the general consensus is that Gotham Knights only dropped at 30. Even on PC, I think it's literally capped at 30. And people were not happy about it, you know? Like, it's, in a way, you could say that they rushed the release. And that's what Coconut was saying. They rushed it out the door. And it might be the fact that, like, they didn't make higher resolutions available. And they didn't optimize it for higher resolutions. 1440, if you play a performance mode, it's a target of 60. So between 30 to 60. So if I have the choice, I'm going to play it at 60. I'm going to play it at 60. I'm going to go 1440, play it at 60, because I honestly like faster frame rates. My personal opinion. If you like it at 4K with 30 frames and you don't mind the frame rate being lower, cool. You know, no counter argument against that. But you should have the option to choose between the frame rates. I think it's only capped on console. Yeah, like I think I mean, it's not going to come out on PC for a while anyway. So on PC, it'll probably be like boosted up and it'll definitely run faster.